Are you trying turning me into a sissy? Chapter 1, The Beginning. I opened the underwear drawer only to find it empty. I headed for the laundry room hoping to find some clean underwear. Well, it was all clean, but hanging on the drying rack and damp. No, it was still wet. Honey, is there any dry underwear? I called hopefully. Sorry, I forgot to hang the washing up last night and only did it 20 minutes ago. What's wrong? I don't have any clean pants. Never mind, I'll go without. My gorgeous wife walked into the bedroom whilst putting in one of her long earrings. She watched as I put a leg into my suit pants and said, "Chris, I'm so sorry. I doubt that you're going to find that very comfy." What am I supposed to do? Not much option. I could lend you a pair of mine. That made me laugh. I doubt if that will happen. Oh dear. Is my man too macho to borrow a pair of comfy clean silky knickers for the day? That would be stupid. Men don't wear ladies' knickers. Do they? Well, I've heard that some men do. Yeah, but I'm not one of them now, am I? One of what? A pair of knickers won't make you a sissy. No one will know except you and me, and at least you won't chafe all day long, which you will if you go without. What about going to the loo? What if someone sees? I said with a quaver in my voice. What do you do in there? Who is going to see unless there is some strange goings-on in the toilets, or you don't want your bit on the side to see you? Came back her response, which was terse to say the least. That is bang out of order. You're the only one for me. I love you deeply, and nothing happens in the toilets that I know of. So what is the problem? At which point she pulled a pair of black silky French knickers from her dresser drawers and hung them from the end of her manicured fingers. I was beaten. There was no real reason not to. It just did not seem right, but logically it did not seem that wrong either. Okay, pass them over. She paused as she walked from the bedroom and watched over her shoulder as I pulled the knickers up my legs. She licked her lips as she walked away. I caught my breath as well. This was wrong, but the feel of the silky garment as I pulled it over my thighs and genitals was almost electric. Bloody hell, I said to myself, this could be quite a day. Victoria never said a word as I grabbed my briefcase, wallet, and keys. We walked out of the car together. She was taking the car today and dropping me off at the office. We listened to the morning news as we rode and made travel arrangements for after work. As she pulled to the side of the road outside my office building, she looked with a sparkle in her eyes and said, "Have a good day and behave. I'll be thinking about what you are wearing all day." My only response was to reply, "Funny, haha." By the time I reached my desk, I could not concentrate on anything except the arousal caused by the pants. I sat at the desk and started work, but I could not get things together. I left the desk and went to the coffee station, but that only caused more silky sensations. I had a hard-on and a pretty big one at that. An hour later, I walked to the conference room for a meeting and the sensations were almost overwhelming. I tried to concentrate and was grateful that it was a short meeting. Immediately after it finished, I headed for the men's room. It did not take long. I got back to my desk and sat deep in thought. What in heaven's name was happening? There was no doubt that the feelings caused by the knickers were incredible. It was wrong, or so my macho side kept reminding me, but felt very stimulating. Today was going to be a long day. I was right, it was a long day and nothing changed. Every time I moved, the knickers reminded me of their presence, and I had difficulty concentrating. I visited the men's room 3 more times for a repeat of earlier. 4 times in one day, not for a long time. I was waiting by the curb when Victoria pulled in. I climbed in and she stared at me. "How was your day?" Because mine was terrible, I just could not concentrate on anything. Mine was the same, but I suspect for different reasons. Those damn knickers kept reminding me that I was wearing them. Nope, it was the same thing. I could not get the image of you in them out of my head. I did something that I had not done before. I brought myself off in the toilet. Me too, was my only reply. It was a good job we were sitting at a red light as we both stared into each other's eyes. Within seconds of getting inside the house, we were all over each other. By the time we reached the bedroom, we had shed every item of clothing except those damn knickers. I was about to pull them down when Victoria reached down to the waistband to stop me with one hand and pulled my throbbing member out of one of the leg holes. She did not say a word, just maneuvered me inside her. I have thought about this scenario all day, and here we are. I lasted for some time, probably because of earlier activity, but it was so good, and Victoria came 3 or 4 times, but it was hard to know because they seemed to run one into the next. We lay back covered in sweat and speechless. After about 10 minutes, Victoria got off the bed and went to the bathroom. I was about to move when she came back. She looked at me and said sternly, "Do not take them off." I didn't. I pulled on sweatpants and a t-shirt, and we sat down for a glass of wine and a snack. After exchanging a few words about our days, we looked at each other and realized that we needed to discuss the events of the day. "Chris, what happened today was incredible." I don't know why I felt like I did, but it was incredible. I know what you mean. But tomorrow I need to wear my own pants because I could not get any work done. I agree, another day like that might get me fired, but the lovemaking was amazing. I could take any amount of that. When we went to bed early that evening, I was still wearing the knickers and we made love again, this time more slowly, but nonetheless it was exciting. Victoria and I have been married for 3 years and are in our mid-20s, although she is a year older than me. We met at university where she was studying marketing and I was doing finance and computing. We married soon after graduating. We were in love and neither of us had any family. Victoria got a great job in the city where we studied, and I started my own business working with IT and also helping small businesses with their finance and accounts. For the last 2 years, I have been developing a computer program to help small businesses. It helped that I had created a game whilst at university, and the sale of that had helped us with the cost of the wedding and a deposit on our apartment. Financially, we were comfortable. Victoria has a couple of girlfriends, both of whom are in the beauty and hairdressing business and who I do work for. Victoria is 5 feet 7 inches with a great figure, better legs, a fine pair of breasts, and long red hair. She is quite beautiful, takes good care of herself, and dresses well. I'm only an inch taller and slim. I am not macho, but fit and well-groomed. No one notices me when we are out together, and I have great pride in being with such a beautiful woman. The next morning, I pulled on a pair of my briefs. They are thicker, coarser fabric and hold things firmly in place. No chafing today. As she dressed, Victoria watched me but did not say a word. She dropped me outside the office again, the same as the previous day. I was doing contract work for a small company and helping with their IT. It was a 6-month contract, but I only worked 4 days a week. On the 5th day, I looked after other clients, many of whom were hairdressers whom I had met through Victoria's girlfriends. I actually had an office above one of the salons, which was my permanent base. I had a per day again. I struggled to find focus and concentrate. Several times I thought about the previous day. I had many questions: why I liked it, what made me feel as I did, it's not very macho, etc. Victoria picked me up on time as usual. "How was your day?" she asked as I got into the car. "I had trouble concentrating again," I replied. "Me too. I couldn't get the day before out of my head." After dinner and over a glass of wine, she told me about her thoughts. "You wearing those knickers started as a joke. I was proud of you for not letting your pride or masculinity get in the way. One of the reasons I love you so much is that you're caring, thoughtful, considerate, and not macho. I admit seeing you pull the panties on made me twitch, but I could not get the thought out of my head all day yesterday. Then last night the sex was incredible, possibly the best we have ever had. And you were as big and hard as you have been and lasted a long time considering what had happened earlier during the day. I loved it. I love you." I don't know why the panties had the effect that they did. I admit they felt great, but I cannot get the fact that it is wrong for a man to wear women's underwear. Why is it wrong? There are lots of internet stories about men who do it. If you enjoy it. We left it at that. I did not know what else to say as I was conflicted, and I got the impression Victoria did not want to say anything to upset me. Just after 10 p.m., I told Victoria that I was heading to bed and going to read. Okay, honey, I'll be up shortly. After using the bathroom, I took a pair of knickers similar to those from the previous day from Victoria's underwear drawer and pulled them on. We were a similar size, although I was a little larger than her, and therefore they were a closer fit. The feeling was like the day before. 20 minutes later, Victoria came to bed, wearing a silky shirt, and crawled in beside me. I was reading and said nothing. She slid her hand down my chest, under the covers, and came to an abrupt stop as she felt the waistband. She knew what I was wearing. She looked me in the eyes, which were sparkling. She so was turned on that I'm sure that she could generate electricity. Thank you, I love you. She disappeared, and so did my heart-on. 40 minutes later we were done, in every sense, and asleep within minutes. As we were dressing the next morning, Victoria held up 2 pairs of her panties, a pair of yellow French knickers in one hand, and a pair of dark blue briefs in the other. She raised an eyebrow as I paled. Which ones? These should feel just about as good, but provide a bit more support, as she indicated the blue pair. I had not given panties another thought. I shrugged and took the blue pair. I pulled them on. I got the same feeling as they came up my legs and nestled around my privates. Victoria smiled. Well done, I love you, Sissy. Sissy. It burned in my brain. It hurt. She saw my face. Sorry, I was just joking, I'm sorry. I was at my own office that day, above Julie's salon. I got on with my work, but I was aware of the panties and that Victoria had called me a sissy. I realized that she was joking, but a guy wearing women's panties is called a sissy. I also know that I liked the feeling of the effect and that if that made me a sissy, so be it. That made me shudder, but I threw that away as not worth thinking about. I had a good day, got lots of work done, and even spent some time chatting with the girls in the salon while sorting out some new software. At one point it occurred to me that I enjoyed the company of girls and spent very little time with men away from the office where I did my contract work. I was home first that evening and started cooking. I had changed into sweatpants and a t-shirt but left the panties. They felt good, what can I say? Victoria came home, dropped her bags, and came for a cuddle. I'm off to get into something more comfy. She slid her hand down to my backside and smiled as she knew what I was still wearing. 10 minutes later she reappeared. My chin dropped. A bra, pants, and garter belt set in the same color as the panties I was wearing. A pair of shiny navy blue stockings, a knee-length satin wrap that was open at the front, and a pair of navy mules. I had not seen any of these clothes before. She had sorted her hair and makeup. She was any man's wet dream. Boy, was I lucky. You like? What's not to like? Been shopping? Yes, popped out at lunchtime. I liked the color and thought that you might appreciate the outfit. Are you jealous? I laughed out loud. No, I'm not jealous, just lucky to have such a beautiful wife. Not sure what a sissy like me has done to deserve a woman as sexy as you. Oh Lord, I'm sorry, I did not mean that, I was joking. It's okay, I have thought about it and came to the conclusion that being a bit of a sissy is not so bad given the fun we have had the last few days. I'm so lucky to have a wonderful man. I love you. A wonderful sissy. Stop that. I love you. We ate dinner, drank a few glasses of wine, and had an early night. Well, we went to bed early, and the rest I'll leave unexplained. The next step, do you fancy a bet on today's game? My wife asked. What sort of stake did you have in mind? I replied, wondering where this was going. Not sure yet, but I think the Marvels should win easily. That made me smile. There was no chance that the Marvels would win against the Hawks. Okay, I'll take that bet. If the Hawks win, you go without knickers for the next week and have to wear a skirt or dress. She laughed, dirty old man, but I won't lose, so no problem for me. I'm going to win, and when I do, I buy you 7 sets of women's panties, and you wear a different pair each day. Are you trying to turn me into a sissy? But no problem, 'cause I'll win. I lost. The Marvels were thrashed. Bet starts tomorrow. You pick a pair of mine tomorrow, and I visit the shops during my lunch break. Oh Lord, what had I done, double or nothing? I wasn't sure what we could bet on, but left it hanging. Oh, now you are risking everything. What were you thinking? A dress, wig, heels. Maybe not. Victoria gave me a choice from anything in her drawer the next morning. I picked a pair of black satin briefs. Despite my thinking that it was wrong, I would be lying if I denied how good the panties felt and what it had done for our sex lives. I was aware of what I was wearing all day and had to admit to taking care of business at lunchtime. The panties were not such a distraction, but I was always aware of what I was wearing, and it was not unpleasant. But what did Victoria have in store? After dinner, Victoria placed a bag on the coffee table that came from a well-known lingerie store in the main shopping mall. I looked at the bag, but I was rendered immobile. I could not move or touch it. Victoria saw the look on my face and asked, "What's wrong?" I don't know. I seem mesmerized by the bag. I want to see what's in it, but I'm afraid. Victoria sat down beside me and put her arm around me. I love you. What has happened has been incredible. It turns us both on. What we do in private is between us and won't harm anyone. Okay, was all that could say. Victoria pulled the bag towards her. I admit that I was shaking a little. She turned the bag upside down and produced a pile of satin and silk. The first thing I noticed was the colors, all pastel, greens, yellows, blue, lavender, white, and something pink. That last one, even though I could only see a piece of it, scared me. Pink. There was a pair of white and a pair of pale blue French knickers, high-waisted briefs in white and yellow, low-waisted pairs in green and lavender, and lastly, the thing that scared me most, a pair of full pink panties with rows of lace ruffles across the bottom. The very thought of wearing them was daunting. I could not hope to hide the rows of lace under a pair of trousers. Then I noticed something else. It was folded and pink, matching the pair with the ruffles. I silently pointed to it, and Victoria smiled before picking it up. A vest, no, a camisole top. It had lace adjustable straps, was cut to allow for breasts, and had a scalloped edge that would sit just below the top of the pink panties. I frowned, then burst into tears. Victoria held me, telling me everything was okay. After a minute or so, I pulled myself together. What is wrong? That was for a bit of fun. I never meant for you to wear either of those things outside the bedroom. That made me feel a bit easier. But they're a bit sissy. You said I wasn't a sissy. You're not a sissy. Yes, they're feminine, but I'm not trying to make you a sissy. Thank God for that. She smiled. At least not yet. I assumed that she was joking. We moved to the bedroom, and I tried on each pair, except the pink set. We went to bed early, but did not get to sleep until late. Saturday was a quiet day. We went about our tasks and chores. Yes, I wore the lavender pair all day, and they were comfy and did not distract me much unless I thought about them. I had a lie-in on Sunday. Victoria was already up and had gone to get the papers and croissants. After a shower and shave, I went to the drawer to select my underwear. On an impulse, I pulled on the pink panties. Oh, you knew the ruffles were there. Having gone that far, I pulled on the camisole top. Wow, that is all I can say. The feeling of silk against my body was incredible. Now what else was I going to wear? I pulled on my housecoat and wandered down to the kitchen to start the coffee. I had just poured a cup when Victoria came back. I think that she was surprised that I wasn't dressed, but didn't say anything. After eating and reading the papers, Victoria asked what I wanted to do. Give you a seeing to. That was out of character for me, and she was a little shocked. Her mouth dropped. I stood up and opened the robe. Her mouth dropped further. My God, I am so proud of you. You look so sexy. Take me back to bed, please. She took me in her mouth. I ate her out, caressed her, sucked her breasts, and fucked her. Then we rested for a bit before going for a second round. Eventually, we got up. I stayed in the outfit and pulled my jeans and a shirt over the top. Yes, you could see the ruffles through the jeans, but everything was private, so I didn't care. The next week, I wore panties every day. We realized that the briefs were better for daytime wear and kept the French knickers for bedtime. The ruffled panties and camisole were kept for occasional play. Our sex life was great, and I was always aware of what I was wearing below my everyday clothes.